It's longer than where it was then, because I didn't cut my hair after you left, so it's longer than then. But on Wednesday, I'm getting all cut off. So the production that I got hired for was for a barbershop. They want me to do a haircut in a barbershop for a credit card company. So I was actually on my way to a barber to cut it all off. I was gonna get it all cut off and start fresh. And then they happened to send me a message, be like, "Hey, we love your look. We want to bring you on for this photo shoot."
We love your look. We want to change it completely.
Well, that's the thing. So they're just like, "We just like your look for how it is." And then I messaged them like, "Well, it's such funny timing. I was actually on my way to get my hair cut off, so you caught me just the right time. I was honestly on the subway platform to go get my hair cut off when I got that." So they're like, "Oh my God, well, that is so funny because we wanted to cut your hair for the production. So now that we know that you're okay with that, we're just going to go ahead with that." And then I was like, "Oh man, my main bargaining chip is gone now." So then I tried to like work it back and be like, "Okay, yeah, you can cut my hair off, but then you have to pay me for it." And they're like, yeah, we'll pay the stylist to cut your hair. So don't worry about that. That is covered. And it's like, yeah, obviously that's covered. Why would I pay the stylist that you brought on to cut my hair? And they're like, no, yeah, exactly. That'd be crazy, right? So don't worry, it is covered by us. I was like, all right, so like, how much am I getting paid additionally to get my hair cut? They're like, okay, so you're getting the lump sum that we're paying you, plus we're paying for the stylist. And I was like, all right, this is not happening. I butchered this sales pitch, and I'm just stuck with the original payment. And yeah.
I mean, hey, you're going to get paid to have somebody cut your hair.
Exactly.
You know, fuck it.
Exactly. That is still a dream scenario.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you could be like me. You wouldn't have any fucking hair.
Exactly.
You know?
Well, we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be a Samson effect, though. With no long hair, I think like the way I'm going to be treated is differently. I think all my power is going to be gone. So I'm going to be stuck with who am I under all of this? You know what I mean?
What's just like left? A 40-year-old businessman who's just aching to get out into the corporate world.
Yeah, truly. I'll get a nice suit upon walking out of the barbershop. So we'll see.
You'll just be like, my dad was right all along. I should give up on my dreams.
Yeah. I mean, it is all kind of coming together. I did just quit my sketch team, too. So it is kind of like, who knows? Maybe this haircut's really going to fuck me up. And next thing you know, I'm going to be working sales. I'm going to be selling car insurance, maybe.
I mean, well, I know that for you, your hair has always been like a big thing for you. Yeah. You know, it's always been like a big point of pride and a big point of like your identity. And mine has always been the reverse because I started losing it at 22 and I was always just like, well, you suck.
Time to move on.
Yeah. Like, are you excited to cut it all off? Because I mean, I don't know if you've ever had short hair in the many, many years we've been friends.
Yeah, well, since we've been friends, I've not had short hair. I've had short hair. I didn't like it. But I think what it is my hair's a crutch. So essentially what it is, if I'm ever feeling insecure or invalidated or unwanted, I know that I can let my hair down and instantly I'll get all this attention. I'll be fawned over. So I think now in my life, it's time to stop being such a coward and stop leaning on these weaknesses and actually face the world as the person I want to be. Therapy has really helped me out to really just kind of be honest with myself and prepare myself for being more truthful and honest with myself.
Well, I'm very glad that has happened, and I'm very much looking forward to your look. And you know what? You still have a beard. It'll still keep you grounded.
Well, the thing is, it's not like I'm getting like a nice like traditional cut. I'm gonna do a mohawk fade. I'm gonna shave both sides and basically just do a fucking mullet. Have it long in the back and still have it decently long, but kind of short in the front and the sides. So it's not like I'm necessarily going for a conservative look. I'm going for a more outrageous look.
Oh, well, I mean, are you gonna pomp it up? You gonna do that pompadour? Little pompsies?
Yeah, why the fuck not? And I think I'm gonna put some color in it too. You know, like, if anything, I need it. I haven't done anything to my hair in like 5 to 6 years. So it's like, I've been looking at all these styles. So now I get to actually do this shit, because now it's not a thing of, oh, I can't touch my hair, you might sell it, or I can't do that here, you might donate it. Now it's like, well, who gives a fuck now? Who gives a fuck?
I was about to say, I hope you donate it. I mean,
yeah,
that would be cool. Or just like give it to somebody who needs it. I watched Good Hair. I know how many people are aching for Asian hair. You should sell it, actually.
That's what I was going to say. Actually, I saw that, and I was trying to sell it. But selling hair is actually really fucking hard. And no one wants male hair. I get, what is it? I get 35% less because I'm a man. So like,
Well, it sounds like the porn industry.
Yeah.
And on that very happy note, hello and welcome to Pop Culture Party People, where you get information about hair and porn.
Yes. Perfect resource.
I'm a humble host here. My name is Dillon Birdsall.
I am a humble host. My name is Warren Chao.
And we are your Pop Culture Party People. We're going to be the only podcast on the internet about pop culture. Now, you might think there are other podcasts about pop culture, and you're wrong. I don't know how else to tell you it, but you are. So I'm sorry.
It's lonely here. We wish there were more pop culture podcasts, so we have people kind of like to refer to or maybe converse with. But yeah, it's really hard being the only one.
Yeah, until we hear otherwise, we're the only ones. Now, if you want to come on and prove us wrong,
yeah,
no shame in that.
We're probably the most organic pop culture podcast too, because
yeah, dude, we're 100% certified vegan.
Yeah,
free range pop culture right here, baby. Well, I'm glad about your hair. Glad about that photo shoot. Cannot wait to see how it turns out. Not only that'll be a nice look for our YouTube watchers.
Yes,
out there. Yes. It'll be real cool. Apart from that, what do we got going on this week, man? What are we gonna talk about?
Well, a lot of movies came out, and there's obviously some great TV on. But I think we're gonna go back to basics and kind of talk about. But is it good? I think we got to bring up a movie that you and I probably saw and loved, but has kind of recently got some flack for some blackface, and that's Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, no, I was. We haven't done it yet, but it is good in a couple of weeks. It's been a while since we did one of our favorite segments here on the show, and I was rewatching Tropic Thunder the other day, and I hadn't seen it in close to like 6 or 7 years.
Yeah,
and I forgot, one, how funny it was. And two, how problematic it was, because I didn't really think about it at the time because, I wasn't woke. Or even thinking about the concept of wokeness. But before we get into that and some other recommendations we had, there was some very cool geek news that we had that we didn't talk about in the last episode, but we wanted to address in this episode. And we got a brand new trailer for arguably one of the coolest manga on or inside of Shonen Jump right now.
For sure.
And that is Chainsaw Man. So for any of you who are not like super big into Jump right now or reading it, Chainsaw Man has officially ended in Jump, but it's going to be doing another arc coming soon. But this is like one of the weirdest, most surreal mangas I've read in a while. And it was really cool to see it in the pages of Jump, because Jump is pretty safe. I think you would agree.
Yeah, relatively. It's meant to sell millions of copies. They're not going to do anything too risky. But Chainsaw Man is extremely risque. It covers heavy violence. It covers a lot of sex. It covers a lot of depression. A lot of like interesting visceral interplanetary mind worlds, for lack of a better phrasing of it all.
Well, it also like really delves into the idea of like loneliness and the structures upon which like you build relationships with people. And it can be very uncomfortable, honestly. There are some passages in Chainsaw Man where you're just like, this feels fucked up. Like this feels like not cool. And you're like, I'm glad it feels like that. Like, I'm really excited that Shonen Jump is kind of treading into those waters, because obviously, like, you can have like a Berserk and stuff like that. That's not in Jump. That's in a completely different book.
Yeah,
that is for older, more mature readers. But this definitely reads a little bit more like one of those, and I'm fucking here for it. And then we got the amazing news that it's going to be getting an anime adaptation, and holy fuck, the team behind this is amazing. Looks so good. The trailer is only about a minute and like 30 seconds long, But fuck me, it seems like the animation on this is going to be the toppest of top tiers. I'm pretty sure the studio behind it is Mappa, and I'm pretty sure that the animation director behind it is the guy who did One Punch Man Season 1. I think the animation director is the guy who did Demon Slayer. Like, we've got some heavy hitters coming in for this first season of Chainsaw Man. And Chainsaw Man kind of needs it because it's so surreal. If it was done kind of poorly, the animation would just really bring it down.
Mm-hmm. Big time. It's interesting that all these big animators are leaving their properties or have already left them to work on Chainsaw Man. Because Chainsaw Man is easily a thing that can be quickly looked over and could kind of be too ridiculous. It has a Dorohedoro feel to it, of this kind of over-the-top, violent mystery going on. And it's kind of drawn in like a similar fashion, but the way they animate it has a nice levity to it amidst all the extreme gore and violence. I'm kind of, where my mind goes in this situation though, is like two things. It's like, one, the state of Shonen Jump, of how like they want more hits, but they keep canceling manga left and right. And two, that I'm still a little sour with the ending of the last arc of Chainsaw Man. So, like, I wanted Chainsaw Man, loving it. I read it ravenously. So I'm really excited for the anime. It's going to cover the first few chapters. Obviously, I love. I'll be all for it. But the way it kind of goes eventually, I'm going to be very vague. So I don't want to ruin it. I don't want to do any spoilers because it's a really great story you got to read for yourself. I got quickly very lost in the logic of all of it all. And I got quickly kind of let down by the ending. It just kind of felt kind of flat and kind of like a Deus Ex Machina of like, we did too much too quickly, so let's just kind of wrap it up and start over.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. I agree completely too with like, as the story goes on, it's like what he's setting up is cool, but also with a lot of like high concept things, including manga, of course. Like sometimes you're just like, what's happening now? Like, what are the rules that you've established, and how is that coming into play now?
Right.
Because the whole idea of Chainsaw Man, for those who have not yet read it, but no spoilers, there's a demon for everything. There's a cigarette demon, there's a mud demon, there's a chainsaw demon, which is Chainsaw Man, the titular character. And each of these demons is more or less powerful, depending on like their hierarchy in what humans fear.
Right.
So if it's something that's really scary, like one of the most powerful demons that we see in the series is the dark. Good demon to be afraid of, right? Everybody's afraid of the dark at some point in their life.
Yes, most definitely.
And that whole chapter where they're in his like domain, fucking amazing. The art on that is unreal.
Yes.
But also while that's happening, as Warren said, it's kind of, you don't necessarily know. You're like, okay, where's this going? Like, what is like, what is the power scaling on this? Because it's like, if this guy is that powerful, how is Chainsaw Man defeating him, or like fighting him in the first place?
Or who kills who now? Like, how do you even kill that demon if he's suddenly invincible, but then can die and due to this deal? It gets very, very muddled quickly.
Yeah, it gets muddled real quickly. And then the main antagonist, who we're not going to say, also her one of the motivations that she has isn't super laid out. You're like, all right, I guess I get it.
You could accomplish that way sooner if you really wanted to. Like, I don't know what all this roundabout stuff is. But all right, I need to work on. I don't want to poo-poo this. I don't want to be a boohoo. Like, this is gonna suck eventually.
I'm still excited about it.
Yes, because early on, the bonding between the chainsaw demon and the main character is so heartwarming and so. He's an underdog story, and who doesn't love a good underdog story? He's like truly the most underdog.
At the beginning of the story, he just wants to touch some boobs.
That's all he wants. What really wants is just like a home and some friends and some food too. He just needs the basic necessities because he's a homeless man, homeless boy, homeless teenager. So, yeah, it's gonna be fucking awesome. And season 1 of One Punch Man is one of the best animated manga animes of all time.
Yeah, absolutely. That first season of One Punch Man, I mean, it was so good that when season 2 came out, people were boycotting the show because it couldn't live up to the expectations of season 1.
That's why they left.
Yeah.
It's season 1 didn't come back.
That's real rough. But no, I think that Chainsaw Man has the potential, especially with kind of the more like edgy subject matter, really cool animation, the idea of like the demons. I actually think this could potentially beat Jujutsu Kaisen? Potentially. I don't know. I mean, like, I feel like Jujutsu, because it has such a strong system with the curses and stuff like that, it is easier to follow and easier to understand. But I don't know. I feel like this could potentially be like one of those dark horses where it's just like, maybe it's kind of like the critical darling and it doesn't necessarily hit the anime public as hard as it should. But I don't know. Like, everybody who's been turned on to Chainsaw Man, like that I like Mother's Basement, and Eye Patch Wolf, and a bunch of other people, like, it's their favorite manga currently. Like, that's come out in the past, like, 5 years. So
my concern with Chainsaw Man is much like the American Gods thing. Whereas, like, American Gods made sense originally. There's these gods due to people's collective understand or belief in them, and the more they believe in them, the stronger they get. As much like the demons, the more you're afraid of them, the stronger they get in Chainsaw Man. But as you begin to increase the world and add more ideas and rules to it, you kind of lose track of everything, and it kind of becomes like a jumbled mess. So I am optimistic for it, but I go in with heavy reservations for the future.
Yeah. We're just going to have to see how it turns out. But honestly, from the animation, from the animation that I saw from the first trailer, I'm very excited to see just at least the visuals of it.
Yeah. We'll see. If anything, I'm still more concerned about Shonen Jump's future. I mean, we covered Phantom Seeker on here, and it's already canceled. And I talked about a baseball manga I was reading. It's already canceled. So, like, literally, they just brought out 2 new mangas that are fine and all, but it's... I mean, they're all going to end fairly soon. One Piece is getting to that point. I mean, One Piece will be there for the next, like, 10 years, but eventually it will.
It's getting to that point. It's still got, like, another decade or so left in it. It's getting a little long in the tooth, so I give it, like, another 20, 30 years. But, yeah, no, I agree. Like... They haven't had like a big success. I mean, I guess Jujutsu is the most recent big success, right? Like that took off like a wildfire. My Hero and Demon Slayer, but Demon Slayer's done. Haikyuu's done. My Hero seems like it's getting close to the end.
It's definitely getting close to the end. Black Clover's still going, but I mean, that shit's just ridiculous now.
Well, Jujutsu's creator is going on hiatus because he's sick. So it's like, okay. I am a little worried about Jump. But I mean, on the other hand, that you have to imagine, right, that there are so many amazing mangakas out there who are just itching for a chance, right?
Totally.
Especially with, like, the pandemic. I imagine that with that level of time and stuff like that, people maybe got a chance for the first time in their lives to actively, like, I'm going to put this story to paper. And you never know. You might have some amazing stuff really come out of that.
I'm not sure about you, but my TikTok every now and then will have indie mangakas put their stuff up on there that will submit to Jump and not get chosen. Some of it's like truly amazing work. So whether it's not shown in Jumps anymore, or maybe it's something like Solo Leveling or anything light novel based, I think the content's there. It's just a question of whether or not they can give into it and kind of open it up. It's very much like the Marvel thing, there are better
absolutely.
comics out there, but do you have to stay true to these singular titles, or can you just open yourself up to more original work?
I don't know. Well, that'll be for them to pivot, right? Like if they notice that their viewership is not coming in like it used to, got to make a change somewhere.
Sometime. What are you going to do?
I mean, it's pretty rare that you have like a Bleach or a Naruto, right? Like those are, it's crazy to think that obviously the big 3 were around when they were, but those are like once in a generation sort of like projects, and they just so happen to be all happening at the same time concurrently.
Yeah, truly. We're lucky to be alive when we are then. Let's take pride in that. We were
absolutely.
We were
and for everybody
Haikyuu.
saying Bleach wouldn't be on the fucking Mount Rushmore of shonen, no, it would be. Like, I mean,
it already is. That's what the big 3 is.
Yeah, that's what the big 3 means.
Yeah.
Like, you can't like retroactively go back and be like, no.
Yeah, we're not saying that they are the 3 greatest mangas, but like the title of the big 3 was given to One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach. So that's just like that is their title. If you want our favorite 3 manga, it's a different scenario.
Yeah, it's a completely different story, but we would never say that those aren't the big 3.
Yes.
So you have to stop saying that they're not the big 3.
Yeah.
You fucking weebs. Like, Jesus.
Yeah, and weebs, you should know this. You should know the history.
This is part of your history. Like, this is something that you should be defending.
Yeah, because those aren't my top 3. No, by no means are they my top 3. My top 3 are Haikyuu, Haikyuu, and probably One Punch.
How can I say Haikyuu again? Okay, Haikyuu.
Dude, I was thinking about it like after we did our wonderful episode dedicated to the Pantheon.
Which, thank you so much. We had a really good listenership on that because the Haikyuu fans are the best.
Yes, appreciate you guys. Hopefully stick around and listen more. We'll do Haikyuu every episode if we have to keep you guys around.
Just give Warren any excuse to do a fully Haikyuu based podcast.
True.
And
here I come about to talk about it. I'm forcing it into the agenda. We weren't even going to talk about it. Here I am. But I was sitting there thinking about it. Haikyuu easily could have been like a Hajime no Ippo. This easily could have been a forever long manga about the travels of Hinata trying to be the next greatest volleyball player and just run itself from the ground. But the genius was they knew when to fucking end it. I still am just loving it so much for knowing when to just move on.
I'm so glad it's not a Hajime no Ippo. Oh my god. Like, Hajime no Ippo is great. I'm not going to. But once again, it's like, dude, how many chapters?
Right.
Like 3,000? No, I'm not reading that.
Yeah, and they made him quit boxing to then be a coach. And then maybe they like fucking pull at your dick, be like, maybe he'll come back. Maybe. Yeah. It's like, no. Just have it end then. Yeah. He quits boxing, doesn't become a champion. It's okay. The end. leave my dick
it's
alone.
all right for things to end. Yeah. You know what? People look back on Seinfeld real fondly because it ended when it was supposed to and just keep going forever.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm worried about Jump as well. But I don't know. I mean, they always seem to pull something amazing out of their ass. And I know for anybody creating manga, being in Jump is like hitting the mountaintop, right?
Totally.
Like, that's winning the World Series.
It's the SNL of sketch comedians.
Absolutely. Oh, look at that setup. Look at that setup. I had more geek news about Nintendo, but you know what? That setup was so good. We're going to talk about this first, and then we're going to talk about Nintendo. Because I saw you teeing that up a mile away. You were just like, let me just hold on. Let me take a second. Let me walk out to the green. Let me put the pin down. Oh, is this a Titleist? Let me just put that directly on top.
Or it's kind of like, hey, there was this great receive. Okay, it's floating in the air. And here I
Chance
am
ball.
looking to just give you this great set for you to just spike it home. It's just floating up there.
Well, Warren had an amazing recommendation for me for a show that I had previously kind of seen and knew about, but necessarily didn't give a chance because it just didn't hit me right when I was originally watching it. But the second season came out, and Warren, why don't you tell us a little bit about your kind of recommendation for me last week?
So the recommendation behind closed doors was I Think You Should Leave with Tim Robinson on Netflix. An incredible sketch show on Netflix that could easily rub people the wrong way because most of it is either pitch meetings or office settings. And a lot of it is just these grating, terrible people being the worst people possible. And it heightens again and again and again. It doesn't end, and it goes on these subplots. And as an ex-sketch comedian, I fucking love this show. It's like everything that I was told not to do in comedy through UCB, and they're pulling these jokes off so hilariously well that it's like a sketch comedian show. It's something you aspire to do. It's almost like the love child of Tim and Eric meets SNL. And a big part of this show is Tim Robinson was a writer and actor on SNL. And these are all of his failed pitches. So in that context, it's really funny to see this crazy son of a bitch pitch these for Lorne Michaels and just see him just be like, no, I don't think that's going to work here.
Well, that gives me a greater appreciation for the show because, all right, I'm going to be the first to admit, my sense of comedy has changed a lot as I've gotten older. It's become a lot more, maybe, I don't want to say like refined, but I definitely know what makes me laugh and what doesn't make me laugh. And at a certain point, I can appreciate what people are doing. But if it's not making me laugh and at the end of the day, I'm kind of just feeling kind of annoyed by it, it's not something I want to invest my time in.
Yeah.
And obviously I know that Warren, more than me at any point, has a bigger comedy bone in his body. I used to think I did. And then you like, I did I ever tell you that before getting into acting, I wanted to be a comedian? That was, I thought when I was 14, that's what I was going to do.
I still think you could be. You have great stand-up comedian presence. For example, that open mic you did, and like you were applauded and loved for it.
When was this?
3 years ago, you had an open mic, and they were like, "Wow, you were able to do a TED Talk, an open mic."
Oh shit! Yeah, I remember that.
All in one show. Yeah.
Oh fuck yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, holy shit. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, sometimes if there's an open mic, I'll just go on stage because fuck it, it's a little fun. Mm-hmm. And thank you for saying that, man. But yeah, no, I thought I wanted to be that, and then just much like acting, I realized that that wasn't my life, and the people who I was interacting with in the comedy world were so fucking miserable that I didn't want to do that. Like, I wanted it to still be fun. You know, I wanted it to still be joyous. And that kind of brings us to this show where it's like, there's definitely skits that are hysterical. Like, they're just, like, even the opening skit of season 1 where he pulls the door off the handles is fucking brilliant. Just like on a conceptual,
so stubborn.
On a conceptual level, that's so fucking funny. Like, and seeing it executed in 4K, even better. Like, that's great. But then, like Warren said, that there are these just inane, like, pitch meeting sections where people are just, like, yelling at each other and calling each other asshole. And you're like, I get what the joke is, I think. Like, I get it. But it's not particularly fun to watch.
Yeah, it gives you a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
There's some episodes that end, I'm just kind of like, I can't watch the next one because I'm just like so anxious and so sad that I'm like, okay, I need to relax. The second season took me a long time to get through, maybe like 2 weeks to say, because after each sketch or episode, I'd be like, man, I need to breathe and watch something a little bit more light and fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm going to applaud Tim for like just the sheer amount of ballsiness in doing these, like, fucking fantastic. And Warren is completely right in the sense that they're going to be comedy sketches that are going to make you feel real sad. And, actually, not air quotes on that. They're just going to make you feel real sad.
Yeah, the one that comes to mind is there's a ghost tour one. It's like essentially a bunch of couples or strangers going together in this haunted house, and you're about you ask questions or whatever to see what happened there, and a guy gives them permission to say whatever they want, and Ted Robinson's character can't help but fucking swear. He keeps being like, how many of these ghosts are coming here with their big ghost sticks and come all over the place? He's like, sir, please watch your language. And he keeps doing it. And in traditional, I think you should leave fashion, the guy who's being annoying and the one in charge pulls him aside or has a one-on-one conversation to check in and see how they're doing, justifying what are these actions coming from. And then in classic, I think you should leave fashion, the comedic character digs her feet in deeper, denies this chance to be a human being, continues to be a terrible monster. But the way this ends is so sad. It says guy comes up to his car where his elderly mother's out there, where this man clearly still lives at home and his mother's still trying to get him out of the house. And he goes,
well, it's not just that, she's clearly very Christian and he can't swear in his own house. So when he's given the opportunity to swear out in public, he acts out on it. But he obviously has never learned that there are appropriate times to say things like that. And it causes him not to have friends. And like, it's hysterical. It's really sad, but it also, I actually did like that sketch a lot. The one that precedes it, though, is where they're in the office and the guy's just laying down talking about his busy shirts. And I'm just like, I was just like, okay, I don't, like, I get it. I really do. But, like, I don't know why I am watching this. Like,
it's so funny. The guy's like, look at the signs. Look at the signs. And somehow the guy in his office knows every detail of his life. He fell down his stairs. It's like, how does this guy know everything?
Well, it's one of those things too, like, and obviously, Warren, you have a better understanding of this than I do because you worked in sketch for a really long time, and that was something that I avoided like the plague. I knew if I was going to be in the comedy world in any way, it was going to be doing stand-up because sketch, it's just like, Oh fuck! It can go so bad so quickly, so many times.
Yeah. Oh, big time. Can it ever? But it's a fun collaborative thing. So like with sketch, I think the magic is seeing a group of people that love each other, or at least put up with each other to put on these shows. And you really see that, and I think You Should Leave. It's just like these people clearly just trying to fuck with each other and really just mess with each other to get a better reaction out of it. And
I mean the dynamics that the team has is fantastic, and and when the skits are going on, like the one with Odenkirk, fucking oh my God, brilliant, so fucking good. But then right after it, it's the one with it's the kids in like exercise gear, and it's just like, how can you go from that to this? It's so rough. Like it doesn't
funny.
Like, how?
It's for a corporate gig. Just a bunch of kids supposed to look buff.
Yeah, it's a corporate gig. It's a corporate gig where the announcer is showing off these preteen children in fake muscle outfits, and they bring the boss on stage to ask which child is the most attractive. Yeah. And you're just like, I don't care about the pedophilia joke. Like, that's fine. But the other point is just like, who thought this up? Of course this got rejected. It's such a dumb idea.
And that's the thing with jokes like that. It's like that type of thing where it's like the hope for that is like it's not funny, right? But if you keep pushing it further and further, it comes to the point where like you have to laugh at it because you're so uncomfortable, or it kind of becomes funny because it's like will not leave your vision. And the show is so risky for that. Yeah,
no, I like that. But if you're gonna do something like that, I prefer like a Nathan For You in that situation, like just fully dry, like docu-series style. But at the end of the day, I'm glad that I revisited this, and I'm glad that we're talking about it because one, it's a good way to see how much my like comedy sensibilities have kind of like changed and like sharpened over the years. Like Inside, masterpiece. I can just keep watching that over and over again. Bill Burr sets, fucking all of them are amazing. I love all of them. But like as I've gotten a little bit older, I did think that Tim and Eric was interesting when I was younger, but now watching Tim and Eric now, it's really hard for me to like that level of absurdity. And I don't know if it's because I'm becoming less whimsical as a person and I'm just dying inside.
I don't think it's that. It's just that you just don't have that chaos doesn't work for you, and that's fine. Your sensibility is different. It's okay. I didn't like Tim and Eric when it was out. It didn't work for me, but I think You Should Leave works for me because it's just organized enough that I can follow it for the chaos. Tim and Eric was always just kind of like public access TV nonsense, and I was like, what is this? What is funny about this? Except for the Brule's rules. That shit was always funny to me.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm really appreciative that comedy exists, right? And one that it connected with so many people. Like, I'm all for anybody having an artistic expression that is not of the norm and being kind of like, yeah, you can still find an audience even with something this fucking weird.
Yes.
But it is also good to know, like you just said, that like your experiences are going to kind of change, and especially as you get older, like sometimes you want things to be more structured or a little bit more contained because you can wrap your head around a little bit more. Yep. And if you're so stressed and worried about stuff, you maybe don't want to be stressed and worry about shit when you're watching television.
Totally. You just want to relax and unwind. I don't know. It's such a daring show. It's so dumb, but yet so daring at the same time. It takes chances. It does these really long punchlines too. I look back at the first season and they do this whole spinal surgery commercial where it's like people can then get their lives again, and it follows this one dad as he like wants to fight his ex-wife's new husband, lift her son up, and then he's then gonna fight this guy for taking his money for making a record for him. But then it then cycles into how he's still wrapped in this fantasy that he could be a star one day, and you see this guy just take advantage of him little by little all over again to a point where he's in the booth freaking out trying to sing this song. It's just so fucking hilarious and patient and ballsy, and it's in this state now where there's so many sketch shows on TV. HBO has like 3 sketch shows already. In Black Lady sketch show, the Michael Che the Michael Che show, and all right, it's maybe 2 off the top of my head, but yeah,
yeah.
And then
I'm not keeping up on HBO sketch anything. I am.
Yeah. And then Netflix, you have Astronomy Club. You have I Think You Should Leave. I think
Wasn't there one with the Ben Schwartzman and Andy something? Or was that just a special?
I think Ben Schwartz and Thomas Middleditch have a 3-part improv special, which is very funny too. 1 and 2 are spectacular. There's a stand-up comedian who has another sketch show coming to Netflix. So sketch is really exploding right now. So I'm glad that in this explosion, they didn't go with the safe route of like, let's just get the best stuff and make another SNL. They got the crazy son of a bitch whose ideas always got rejected from SNL and gave him his own sketch show. So I'm happy for that. I'm happy that originality is kind of coming out of all of this.
And as you said, it's not necessarily for me. I may keep watching it because like I said, it's like a 50-50 every episode where it's like, this is the most brilliant thing I've ever seen. And then the next thing you watch, you're like, what the fuck is this? It is very much, as you said at the top of it, a comedian's comedy show. Like it is kind of playing only to other people in its comic sensibility. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's just maybe not the thing for me.
Yeah, you're just going to lose some people along the way. Because, part of it, the thing is like, oh, wow, they did it. They paid to make this set and all these characters, and they're going to go, 10 more minutes in this joke? I would have bailed out. I would have fucking got out of this 5 minutes ago, but they're going to keep going with this? That's so funny. Oh, they're going to expand on this universe right now? I wouldn't even think to do that. That's incredible. So it's very much like an inside baseball, whereas people will nerd out about stats. I'm nerding about these sketch writers and what they're willing to go for. For example, they do a satirical sketch on Shark Tank with the judges trying to win the money. One of the judges is this one woman who somehow got caught up in the Charlie Brown blimp during Thanksgiving Day parade. And my favorite part is they're all kind of saying how tough they are. And she runs out of words, so she just makes a sound effect. She goes, hello.
It's funny. I'm laughing more at you talking about it than when I watched it, and I was just like, what? It was funny that she got caught in the chart. That's how she got her money. Okay, good. And then, it's okay, she ran out of words. Kind of funny. But it's just you're making noises now? Yeah. What the fuck?
It's so funny. It's who got this judge here?
Yeah. I don't.
It's so funny.
I would genuinely love to watch it with other sketch people, or maybe I wouldn't, because that would be the worst night of my fucking life.
Yeah, you'd be trapped with everyone laughing around you, being like, "Yeah, right? Huh? Right? Right?
You get it, right?" And you're like, "I mean, kinda."
Yeah. Or they would judge you for not laughing. And they would cancel you out. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I never vibed with the sketch world. It never spoke to me. I think the idea of collaborating with people and trying to be funny as a group, fucking cool. A really cool way to actively perform together. But I don't know. It's contending, obviously Mike Birbiglia's movie, Don't Think Twice, is, it's perfect. It's exactly what it is, and it's so fucked up.
I don't know if it's perfect.
Really? The egos in that fucking movie are exactly what it's been like every time I've been among sketch people.
Yeah, sketch and improv people, for sure. Yeah, what are you going to do? Everyone sucks, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We're all the fucking worst. I'm not saying stand-ups are any fucking better, just different in their own fucking way.
Yeah, every artist sucks, and you just got to find your community of people that you get along with to make stuff.
Yeah. But thank you for recommending it. I'm glad I rewatched it.
Yeah,
I'm glad I'm glad I gave it more of a chance than I did on the first episode, where I was just like, I don't think this is for me. But I know
Auntie Donna's sketch show is the other Netflix one. If you want really absurd, you should watch that one.
No, I'm good. No, I'm fine. Speaking of absurd, we got brand new news about a new Switch coming this fall to Fox. It is... I don't have the fucking words. All right, so Nintendo has been teasing for a very long time that they're going to come out with a pro version of the Switch, which would be kind of cool.
What is a pro version for those that don't know?
What?
What would a pro version be for those that don't know.
A pro version of the Switch would be 4K capability. It would be able to run higher graphics. It would have a better graphics card inside of it. The screen would be much improved. The Joy-Cons would work, but it would just be a big improvement overall from what we initially got. Mm-hmm. And then they announced the new Switch OLED.
Yes.
And the only difference that this Switch has is the screen. And that, my friends, is how Nintendo has slowly but surely started to become my least favorite fucking company on the planet. Nintendo is doing everything it can to piss its fans off. And it is really annoying. And I mean, Warren, feel free to take anything that you want to say, but I am ready to vent on this shit.
No, I'm just gonna take this imaginary soapbox. I'm gonna hand it to you to have your time to rant all you want. Famously, not a Nintendo guy. I don't really care about Nintendo. I can see why people are angry about it. I personally am not affected by it because I don't give a fuck about Nintendo. So please, Dillon, speak your woes and really give it to Nintendo.
Absolutely. Well, Nintendo, if you're ever planning on sponsoring us, maybe don't listen to this episode. But the biggest problem I see with Nintendo is that every company, whether it be Xbox, PlayStation, or PC, is going out of its way to try and make playing their games and being a part of their gaming community more fun. They want to do things that include more people. They want to bring more people into the fold. And even PlayStation, when they do stupid shit that doesn't allow cross-platform playability and stuff like that, they still make up for it in other ways. They still try and have the best games that you can get on the market. They still offer you great games on a monthly basis. And the same thing with Xbox. I know that we used to LAN-based Xbox all the time because it was the inferior system. It was like this poser system. It was the system that, you know, only douchebags and dude bros bought so they could play fucking Halo and teabag each other in the Halo verse. But you know what? Xbox has come so far from that. They've done so much to build this amazing goodwill and have amazing hardware and really show that the Game Pass is worth having and worth loving. And I know that me, Warren, and our friend Dale have been in love with the Game Pass from the day that we bought it. It is such a cool addition to have all these games at your fingertips that are completely connected to your friends that you can enjoy with them.
Yep.
And Nintendo, through all of this time, has done everything in the reverse. It being more inclusive? No. Trying to bring top-tier games and get them to the best place they could be? No. Bringing the best possible hardware they possibly can so that you have a premium experience? No. Suing people who are doing things inside the community that are fun and will not affect their bottom line? Of course they're doing that. It's everything on top of everything. And then when they come out with a new product, whether it be the Switch Lite, which I thought was a stupid idea, or this new Switch, which is literally the only things that they have updated. They haven't fixed Joy-Con drift. They haven't fixed the internal Wi-Fi. They haven't fixed the graphics card. They made a bigger stand on the back and they made the screen a little bit better, but it still only plays games in 720p. Yep. It didn't even improve the graphic quality. It just made things crisper. And now they are going to slap a $350 price tag on it. And they know, sadly, that people who are fucking devoted to them the same way that people are devoted to Apple are going to go out and buy this product because it has a name on it. And that is become so fucking awful and cynical to me. And I fucking hate it. I don't like it, and I kind of don't want to support them anymore. There are very few games that I really care about that Nintendo makes anymore, Zelda being maybe one of the only ones, but they've driven Mario into the ground. Fucking Mario Kart has been out for years, and it's a port of a Wii game, and it's still $60. That's insane.
But Dillon, Japan is moving to a 4-day work week. Don't you think we should lighten up on them and give them a chance to kind of rest? They've been working so hard their entire lives. Let's just kind of give them a chance to make an easy third-generation Switch. They kind of just, like, take a year off. Nintendo, take a whole year off. Really think about what you want to be doing, and then come forward with what you've been planning. Because obviously this is just something that they're showcasing to keep people busy and kind of satiate their appetite. Because obviously they're planning for something much bigger, right? They got to be planning something even bigger than this, right?
I mean,
right? They got it.
Even if they are, I have to admit, as a former fan, I'm having a really hard time in any way, shape, or form wanting to support them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I agree that yes, maybe they're just so fucking overworked that they can't potentially do it. But you know what? Sony fucking is in Japan and they do that shit much fucking better. So
it's also like, how dare anyone have sympathy for a company? Be like, oh my god, are you guys overworked? That's so tough. All right, you take some time off. It's like, no, fuck you. You have the money, spend it on to make better equipment. There's like no excuse for that shit.
Yeah, there's absolutely zero excuse for you to just be doing the bare minimum because you know that's what will get you by.
Yes.
And that's the issue I've always had with Pokemon. I know that people fucking love Pokemon, but I'm here to tell you that every single one of those games is exactly the same. And they've only updated the character designs. And that's sad. That's really sad for that to be the most successful franchise in the world and it have no innovation. It's ludicrous to me.
Let me ask you an honest question, though. For you to look within yourself, if you didn't have a PC right now, would you still be as angry? Has the PC and the amount of things you can do with it and the amount to change your horizon, the amount of games you can play now, has that changed your perception a little bit to being kind of over these these stupid little Switches and be happier with your behemoth, your beautiful PC now?
I would say yes and no. I would say absolutely there is a part of me that now that I have this gaming PC and I can see everything that it does, like, I mean, us playing on Parsec is unbelievable. Having access to the entire Steam library is so fucking cool. Being able to go back and play old ROMs of games that I didn't think I would ever get to play again, really wonderful. Like, all of that is amazing, and I'm so glad I have it in my life now. But to the other point, like, I'm never going to give up my PS4 because it's got Bloodborne. It's got God of War. It's got all of these games that are tied to the PlayStation. They're never going to be ported over, probably. I mean, they might be, even if they are. The experience I had with that system is going to mean so much to me. But the best moments I've had on my Switch, apart from Breath of the Wild, are all indie games that just so happen to be running on the Switch. There's nothing special about the Switch except that it's portable and they happen to be able to get a lot of people to be in their library. But that doesn't mean that Nintendo is doing anything right. Like, once again, it's really sad to see a company that has all of these opportunities, especially looking within its own community and seeing what they are doing, and is actively choosing to be worse and is actively choosing not to grow. And that is, honestly, it's unacceptable to me. Like, it's just...
All right, quick question. We got to move on and go into our Is It Good segment because we're running out of time. But if Nintendo... what could Nintendo do to get back in your good graces? What are you looking for as an old fan of theirs on the edge of leaving Nintendo altogether? What could they do in 1 year to blow you away and return your fandom to them?
Well, I would like them to invest more in IP. Like, they obviously have their greats, Mario, Zelda, all that stuff. But they need to do more stuff like Three Houses and other things like that. They need to really start bringing in games and new franchises that make me excited to be a Nintendo person.
Yes. So you don't want to... Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no. What were you going to say?
So you don't want to see like a Metroid 3. You don't want to see like another...
Well, I mean, I absolutely want to see Metroid Prime 4. I don't know what the fuck is taking so long. But yeah, like, I'm absolutely down for that. But like, the reason why PlayStation is so cool is because you can guarantee they're going to have some interesting stuff come out on it that you were not expecting, and then it becomes like your favorite game. 2, I am so fucking tired of them having games that are over 4, 5, 6 years old being full price. That is ridiculous and awful. And especially for a digital version, that should never be happening. There should be sales on Donkey Kong and Mario and all this other fucking shit every day of the week so that people can experience those not at fucking bank-breaking prices. 3, their online service needs to start giving free games. Like, that's Xbox does it. PlayStation does it. The only fucking free games that we have on Nintendo Online are SNES games. Like, what?
Yep.
Ugh. And finally, stop fucking suing people. Stop going out of your way to ruin communities that are loving your product, that are doing everything that they can to show you how big of a fan they are. I get it that it's your IP. I understand that. And you know what? If they're making money off it, there is a legal reason why you should be like, hey, please stop doing that.
Yes.
But if a fan goes out of their way to have a Smash tournament that they organize that isn't making any money, and it's literally just an event that they want to have with their friends, and you want to shut that down, take a look at your fucking priorities and stop doing that.
Yeah, it's pretty evil. That's some evil corporation bullshit right there. Well said, man. Well said. That's not asking for a lot. That's just like really just the state of the world that we live in now. It's the bare minimum of things they could be doing to really helping themselves out.
Yeah, it would be nice to see them try to stop being so fucking selfish. It would be really nice if that happened.
Well, fuck him.
Yeah. Fuck you, Nintendo.
Until that, I will say what will bring me to them if they do that open world Pokemon game, and it truly is like an open world Pokemon game, not like you walk around in 3D animation and enter a traditional turn-based combat. If it's like really open world and you actually have to move your Pokemon to dodge attacks and attack, that will bring me back in a heartbeat. Something I've always wanted to play, and something that they could probably very easily create. So
yeah, no, I want a Dark Souls Pokemon.
Yeah.
Like,
hell yeah.
Make that happen. Like,
Hell yeah.
The crazy thing is they've got so much cool IP and they never do anything cool with it. Mm-hmm. Like, they've got that's the thing. They've got so many cool things that they hoard and make worse, and they don't look for help, and I don't know why. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about Tropic Thunder. I could go on for fucking hours about this. It's so infuriating.
Well, and probably my favorite segment we do on this show. But yeah, is it good?
Yeah, but like, is it good?
But, all right, so we watched it when we were younger, and I remember liking it, but is it good now?
Yeah, but like, we're adults now, and when we watch it with adult 2021 eyes, is it good?
Yeah. So in the past, we've watched classic nostalgia-filled movies that we love: Surf Ninjas, Three Ninjas, Teenage Ninja Turtles, a lot of ninjas.
Well, lots of ninjas. really have a type in our Yeah But Is It Good segment. Lots of ninja fare.
And now we're going to tackle a movie that actually does kind of bring the question, is it good and is it okay? It's like, I'm not sure about you, but I'll tell you my story with this movie. I loved it when it first came out. I could not stop watching it. I bought the DVD. I would tell everyone to watch it. I would quote it all the time. I was like so happy with Robert Downey Jr.'s performance, and I love that he was nominated and he won a Golden Globe Award. And now as time has passed, and now that I'm dating a girl who is black, and it kind of brings up a lot of questions now of like, okay, yeah, I remember enjoying it, loving it, but is it good? Can I still enjoy this now and watching it? Do the jokes still land? I still love the premise. I still love all the actors in it. The amount of fucking star power of comedic talent in this movie is insane. Bill Hader plays
the assistant.
Yeah, and he fucking still kills it. Steve Coogan is the crazy director who dies early on, but still fucking kills it. And this also was a birth of a movie of so many people who needed a second chance. Nick Nolte had a career after this again, after he just totally imploded and died. Robert Downey Jr. took this after getting out of prison. He got Iron Man in this, took big swings and paid off for him, and now he is who he is now. So this movie is culturally, in pop culture, very important, very significant. But the blackface, the yellow face, and the use of the R word is very, very rough.
So, yeah, I would say that when this movie came out, I saw it in theaters. I really liked it. And if it would show up on TV, I would watch it and have a good time. I would say it was definitely not my favorite Ben Stiller movie. I still think that goes to Zoolander. Like,
yeah.
I fucking love Zoolander so goddamn much. But I remember distinctly laughing my ass off at this movie. And also, because we lived in different times, this movie is from 2008. It is more than 10 years old. I didn't see any problem with anything in the movie. There was definitely some white blinders on where I was just like, yep, this is totally acceptable and totally fine. Nothing to worry about here.
Yeah.
Is there something wrong?
Right. What's wrong with Robert Downey Jr. having blackface and just doing all this classic minstrel show stuff? What's wrong with that? There's a black guy calling it out. That makes it okay, right?
Yeah, well, I think that's the thing, especially I saw it was on Amazon and I was like, I had some free time and I was like, I want to watch this again. I remember really enjoying it and I wonder if it still holds up. And I will absolutely say, yes, it is good. It is still very fucking funny. It is still really well directed. And yes, Warren is completely right. The star fucking talent in this movie is pretty unreal. Yeah. Everybody is hitting where they need to hit at all times. And it's one of those wonderful things where Ben Stiller has always been a really good director, but it's one of those things that he's kind of gone away in recent memory, right?
He went serious, it seems like.
Yeah, he's not really doing anything anymore. And funnily enough, after watching Tropic Thunder, I watched Dodgeball and also had an amazing time watching. Yes. And it put me back in a sense of feeling like comforted because I was remembering a happier time in my life, right? 2008, I was like 16 years old. Like things were on the up and up, I guess, all things considered. But then, of course, yeah, it's like, well, with all the backlash that anybody is getting for being in blackface at any point in their life. And of course, it's not just blackface, he's in yellowface during a portion of the film. And it's one of those things where it's like, is this acceptable? And we've talked pretty openly on the show about cancel culture and our experiences with it and how we're trying to be woke, but also not crucify people for their past, right? Like,
truly,
because things exist in a time before you were more enlightened than you are now, and it's still okay to enjoy them and look back on them. And I have seen a lot of argument, especially from the black community. I made sure I searched this out on YouTube and TikTok and some other places, where there are plenty of black people defending this film because even though it is blackface, it is clearly pointing out the ludicrousness of white people through its portrayal of it. Right. It is the arrogance of Robert Downey Jr.'s character that he thinks he has the ability to play this character. And it's not poking fun at black people at all. It's really showing how fucking ludicrous Hollywood is that they would ever think it was acceptable.
Yeah. And I think that's like the tricky thing with this is as I was watching it, I was looking for the same articles and watching the same videos. I found that Jamie Foxx was defending it on Joe Rogan Experience. And then I found all these great YouTubers talking about it and TikTokers. But I think therein lies the problem, is that I needed the justification. I needed the people to say it was okay for me to watch it. So inherently, I know it's wrong. And it's like those caveats pull me out of it. It's like I just cannot watch it anymore. So with that in mind, it's like it's tough to say that it's good because I can't just watch it for what it is now. I'm pulled out of it for all these other social issues going along with it. And the real issue that I had with it is, of course, blackface is terrible. His portrayal is minstrel show. And the way he's acting it out and the whole characterization, the writing of it is really smart and able to pull it off. But it's actually the Brendan T. Jackson character that they kind of portrayed in a negative light. They did all the cliches. Here's a black rapper who is going to play all these parts, but only give him the power to speak out against Robert Downey Jr. till like basically halfway through the movie, and then give him his character arc maybe 2/3 of the movie. So like therein lies the issue of like not having black writers help out write this. He was just kind of written in this lens of like, okay, what does a black character look like? Okay, he's a rapper. He's trying to sell his shit. He's actually helping out his community, and he hates his character. It's like you didn't flesh him out. Brandon T. Jackson didn't get a blow up from this movie. All the other white counterparts actors did do that. So in that vein, it's like
I do love that they made him gay though.
Did love that. Yes.
It's a cool inclusion. Admittedly, it could have happened sooner. Like you're right. His inclusion doesn't really happen until third of the film in. Yes. So yeah, you're giving a lot of screen time to Robert Downey Jr. in blackface and not nearly as much time to Brendan T. Jackson criticizing the character.
Yes. And it's a tough thing too. Like if you make Robert Downey Jr. character not the intelligent one, not the voice of reason, then you make him just a guy in blackface, which is never going to work out. That's just what we're going to have people protesting the movie and have it be torched and terrible. It's just in the lens of now. It's like Brandon T. Jackson's character should have been up there more so, had a stronger voice, make him a little bit more intelligent, make him more of a central character. And that's just me kind of like nitpicking it. And end of the day, I love this movie. And it's like, it's tough for me to watch it now because I'm too busy trying to justify and find all these things that I like and don't like about it. And I do really hate the Asian characters in the movie. There's no reason why these Vietnamese people should be the way they are. They shouldn't be literal Viet Cong, you know? Like, in my mind, I was like, why couldn't they be the staff that's working for them? And they're so tired of being treated like shit by all these actors and all this staff, how they decide to fucking kidnap them and then get money from it, you know? Like, give them more pathos, give them more of a reaction to it, give them more of a rich story to it all.
Well, I think the funny thing is, we haven't even talked, we've been so busy talking about whether or not Robert Downey Jr. in blackface is the most problematic thing in this movie. And we haven't even talked about that. Yeah, the Asian people in this movie are portrayed as like backwood jungle hicks who are heroin dealers. And that wasn't even given a second thought, you know? Like, in the cultural context of things where it's like, I agree with Warren that I don't necessarily want to be watching a movie and being pulled out of it thinking that, is this okay anymore? Because that's fucking exhausting. I kind of fucking hate that's where we are in society. It's where we need to be. Like, I am totally fine feeling those emotions, trying to examine those things. But it does make certain things where you're just like, God, I don't necessarily want to be having a political statement right now while I'm like trying to watch a film. But it does take a little bit of self-understanding and respect to be like, hey, yeah, this wasn't acceptable and it still is good. And that's okay. Like, it's all of these different things that make up a very complex stew of where we're living now. And having a little bit more sensitivity never fucking hurt anybody. Right.
It's tough. It's a fucking it's a tough act. It's a tightrope to walk. Like, reading Robert Downey Jr.'s response to it all, being like, 90% of my black friends love my performance, is like, ooh, like, you said that, man? Like, come on, dude. But at the same time, like, if I was in those shoes, I wouldn't know what the fuck I would say. Honestly, I wouldn't do this. So that's like my whole thing. It's like, now that it already exists, how do you even exist doing a role like this? And I have been awarded for it. You got a Golden Globe for it. So it's like this really weird thing. It's just like, it shows that it's like,
well, it exists in both worlds. It can both be a really smart satirical look at how awful Hollywood is, and white actors thinking that they are these zeniths that can do anything, and it can also be a slightly problematic thing to look back on, especially now that we're trying to have so much more inclusion in the types of films that we make. And Warren is absolutely right with what he said before. There should have been some black writers on this just to be like, hey, maybe you're skewing a little bit too far to this side, and maybe we should highlight this other black character a little bit more, or give them a little bit more of an organic thing to work against. And all of those things are things that we luckily are talking about now, and is good, but is also really exhausting. There's no denying that having a series of things where we make sure that everybody is okay before making the thing can feel real tiring after a while, but needs to kind of happen, I guess. Now, you know, like,
in rescue to the movie, the moments that I love, I still really liked, like when they see that Simple Jack's in front of him and they go, Nisha Ben and Jack. I fucking laughed. I fucking loved it.
Well, we also didn't even talk about when the film first came out, the blackface wasn't the thing that people were talking about. They could care less about that. They were upset with Ben Stiller for portraying and saying retarded throughout the film. And that was the big controversy when this film originally came out in 2008. That was the big thing that people were all up in arms with. And that, I mean, it didn't necessarily even register now. I mean, it registered, of course, but it was like one of those things where the blackface, I was like, ooh,
that's rough.
Oh, that's real rough. And I wasn't even thinking about Simple Jack. It's like I can't contain all of the things that are wrong in one one brain.
That one scene where they talk about going full R word. You never go full R word. It's like a perfect installation of like why this movie is problematic, but also why it works so well. that monologue is so fucking perfect to how Hollywood works, of referencing the movies and the actors that did it and why you don't do it, seeing like these egos of this huge megastar wanting that Oscar and not getting it, falling so hard in his face, and then this very talented actor who's in blackface explaining it all.
The monologue.
Yeah. It's like why the movie is so terrible and so great at the same time.
But that scene specifically, I'm glad that scene exists.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I am genuinely glad that that scene exists so that we can talk about it and actively have a discussion about it. And if a majority of people of color don't have an issue with it, and a majority of people who are mentally disabled in some way don't have a problem with it, then maybe it's okay that we're okay with it and that society has accepted it. Because if you're getting upset on other people's behalf and they are not upset at all, you're not helping. You're actually part of the problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
In other news, it's fucking hysterical. It is really good, and I do highly encourage you, if you haven't seen Tropic Thunder in a while, rewatch it. And especially if you've got friends who are of color or are in the Asian community or are black or anything, fucking talk to them about it. Be like, hey, how does this make you feel? Like, I genuinely am interested to see what your take on this is.
So I talked to Karen about it. I was sitting in bed watching it. I was like, do you want to watch it with me? She was like, is that the movie where Robert Downey Jr. does blackface? I was like, yeah. She goes, yeah, I'm good. I don't ever need to see that movie. I go, that's fair. And then I was sitting there, and she's like, how you doing? I was like, yeah, I'm kind of like, she saw me clearly on my phone trying to find articles and watch videos and whatnot. And I was like, I came to the realization, I was like, I'm just trying to justify watching this. You know, like, I love this movie, and I just need the justification to like that. She goes, well, it's really brave that you know that about yourself. And it's great that you're researching that. It's also good to know I'm dating a racist. It's like... So it's like, you know, like, hey, you're gonna get labeled, you're gonna be called a piece of shit and a racist, and it hurts, but it's just a movie.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I don't think anybody, especially in 2000 decade, it's more than a decade old.
Yeah,
it's okay if you like something that is problematic. It's okay. It really is.
It's not malicious, you know?
Yeah, it's not malicious. You have to examine it within yourself. And you know what? If you as a person can look at something that is problematic, see its faults, and still understand why it's good, I am all for that. Mm-hmm. That is a healthy way to interact with media that has aged. That is a good thing as a society to do. Because you obviously can't strike it from the record, because that doesn't fucking help anyone. And you can't hate it so much that it never gets talked about, because that isn't helping anyone. What you have to do is recognize the things that are wrong with it, recognize the things that are good about it, and actively have a discussion about it. And that's sadly not a lot of people are doing. Right.
It's also a thing too of like, comedies don't age well. That's just how comedies work. They will just kind of go in the dust, not work out. A lot of Mel Brooks movies aren't going to work anymore. People aren't going to laugh them. They're not going to like them, and that's just the way it is. Blazing Saddles will not work in today's temperament. It's not going to win an audience is over, and that's just comedy is like of the time. It's of that era. You can get a feel for it. It's like historical evidence of what the jokes were at that time, but they're not evergreen. They pass along. So Tropic Thunder is still funny now, and maybe in 10 years it won't be. But like, as of right now, I still enjoy it. Fully aware of its faults.
I mean, that's a beautiful way to put it. Like, comedy, especially when you're watching it from the past, it is a time capsule. Mm-hmm. It is literally an encapsulation of what we thought was funny at this specific period in history. Some things are evergreen in comedy, like farting will never not be funny, because we all do it. Right. But yeah, like, there are certain things in Blazing Saddles that are incredibly problematic, right? That will have not aged well and are not good. But once again, just like with this, I'm very glad that Blazing Saddles exists. That movie is a masterpiece of comedy story writing for that time. That movie was so fucking ahead of its time for the sheer fact that it had a black lead in the first place. That movie was groundbreaking because of that. Yes, of course, there are jokes and things that are said at his expense. But for the time, Mel Brooks telling a studio that he was going to have a black lead was revolutionary.
Truly. It's also sensibilities change so much from Blazing Saddles. If we did, heads would spin if we showed Gen Z Blazing Saddles. They wouldn't know what to do with themselves.
Oh god, yeah, I can't wait for people to discover that shit on TikTok.
Yeah.
Try and fucking cancel Mel Brooks.
Yeah, do your worst. Good luck with that.
Yeah, good luck with that. The dude survived like the Nazis. He'll be fine. He didn't actually survive the Nazis. I'm just saying that, like,
well, you maybe should explain it. I don't know. Some people may not get what you're saying.
Yeah.
In all honesty.
Well, that's probably fucking true. Mel Brooks didn't live through the Holocaust, but he did write an amazing satirical piece about the Holocaust, which is The Producers, which is very problematic for white people. Like, there are so many jokes done at white people's expense, especially the Germans in that movie.
It's so funny if someone takes Springtime for Hitler out of context and being like, oh my god, Mel Brooks loves Hitler, I'm going to roll on the floor laughing.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't roll on the floor laughing. I'd be like, I am so upset with our generation. How do you not see? Oh god, yeah, it's sad that satire it can't exist anymore because people just can't wrap their heads around it like they used to, and that's sad. That's sad for society.
Things just change, you know. Pop culture changes, people's sensibilities change. So, you know, I think it's just we're going through this time right now. We're trying to figure shit out. People are actually putting a lens to like, wait. Britney Spears has been prisoner by her parents? Wait, why? What? Let's talk about this. Let's figure this out. Everything is kind of coming to light, so... Yeah,
absolutely. And also fucking Bill Cosby got off. How the fuck did that happen?
How did that happen? And that's like proof of like why you kind of need to like keep your attention on so much shit, because then shit can fall between the cracks and Bill Cosby's out of prison. So like, it's a scary fucking time.
It's real fucked up and real weird, but I have to say, and I think you agree, is Tropic Thunder good? Fucking yeah, it is. Is it problematic? Good. Yeah, it is. Like, it can be both things at once, and you can enjoy it, even when it is problematic.
Yeah, it's deeply problematic. It's still deeply funny, and deserves a watch.
Absolutely. Well, that is a perfect way to wrap up the show, honestly. On a really heartfelt note. Anything you'd like to plug before we get out of here?
Please check out my Instagram at Chao. Please check out my dog Instagram, as told by Ginger Pup on Instagram.
Do you have an Instagram for your production company yet, or is that
no,
not
yet.
Works?
That's still You're
still putting pieces.
We're figuring it out. Not yet. Yeah.
Some good news before we sign off. My film got fully funded on Seed and Spark. For anybody that's listening, More Than Monogamy, it got the green light on that. Woo! So some really cool news there. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about the film that I'm making, please go to www.morethanmonogamy.com and you can see what we've been working on. I've been on a couple of cool podcasts recently that I would love people to hear. If you're into ethical non-monogamy or swinging or polyamory or any of those good things, that's what this film is all about. If you'd like to follow me on YouTube, I can be found at Unlimited Free Time, and if you'd like to follow me on any of the other social platforms, you can find me at All the Birds, pretty much everywhere else. That's it for this episode of Pop Culture Party People. Please remember to like, subscribe, comment, do all that good shit. It really does go a long way to helping the podcast. And until next time, we're the Pop Culture Party People. We put the cult in pop culture.
Bye.
Bye.